Fine. So, with Purim, we're going to give a shtickle Torah over here about one of the more interesting parts of the Megillah. I mean, it's something that I don't believe that much people talk about. But one of the psukim that we learn in the Echat in the Megillah is וכלים שונים. And the Gemara asks וכלים משונים מבעי. She asks כלים משונים that the kelim are משונה. So what was משונה about it? So the Gemara says that there was a problem over here that what? That Omar Rava, Yartus Abaskal v'Amr Lehem Rishonim Kolam Ibnei Kelim, the original people, they got punished, they got destroyed because of Kelim, meaning the Kelim of the Beis HaMikdash. Atam Shonim Behem, and you're repeating the same offense that they did. Now remember, this we're going to get to later in the thing, but he was wearing Big Day Kuna and he was mishtamish with the Kelim of the Beis HaMikdash. Belshazzar gets killed, and this player, this hobo, he has the whole party with the Kelim of the Beis HaMikdash and with the Big Day Kohen Gadol, and nothing happens to him. You know, he lives happily ever after. Like, we don't see that he got like a terrible lineage at the end. Haman gets killed and he doesn't. Okay, interesting Zach. I mean, what was the Yidden's reaction to this? This is the Chalamal. I always thought about it. You know, what was the Yidden's reaction? They come in, and Lamaisa, you know, Mordechai tells them not to, and then these guys go, and it's like a classic anything that any rabbi tells anybody not to. You know, don't go to the baseball game. Then they go, and then they feel like they're like 1% stupid, 2% stupid, 10% stupid. Like, how stupid did they feel that they went? Did they not feel stupid? The whole thing, they're going lahachas to the rabbi. Like, what was Klal Yisrael? Not Klal Yisrael, but the people that went. I mean, the Gemara says that if Klal Yisrael went, you know, the people went. You know, it was kosher. You know, you get kosher hot dogs in the baseball game. You know, it was kosher food. What's the problem? You know, it's not the food that's the problem. It's the ambiance. It's the matzav over there.
They went?
They went, sure they went.
Where
does it say that they went?
Yeah.
Where does it say that they went? The Gemara says that they went. It's Gemara here on the base. The Yiddish base on the base. That's what Shem by Chaim. They were Chayiv. Think Mbnei Shenen and we said that's the Russia. It says they were Nenev. It didn't say that they went. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a horror maybe. But I'll go upon him. I think like this. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm wrong. This is how I always think. Well, it's one thing if they came into the. It could be that there is a medrash that says something similar. I don't know if it's the exact thing. They come in the Maisa, they're ready to have a good time, and you know, with all the kashrus or whatever the being bayit barabai sehem, you know, that the rabbis tell them not to go and they go. But the Maisa, once they sort of came with the Beis HaMikdash, like their attitude changed. Like we weren't expecting, you know, we knew it was going to be okay when the thing was be like that bad, you know, like. And they had a change of heart, you know. Epis was different. So very interesting. There's a Mishnah at the end of Masechta Kelim. We're talking about Kelim. We're talking about Kelim. Mishnah at the end of Kelim says, "Ashrecha Kelim shenechnasta betuma v'yatzasa betara." So there's a Mishnah that says that praise are you Masechta Kelim because you started off betuma, meaning the Mishnayos of there start off with 10 madregas of tuma. And it ends off betara, the last idea of the Mishnah, the last halacha in the Mishnah is over there, 30 prakim later, ends off betara. This time, there's a ha'ara, like vus epis. Is this a hisaf on the Mishnah? Is it an actual part of the Mishnah? There's a lot of ha'aras on this. But I'll call upon him, it's just very interesting that what's ashrecha kelim shenechnas the betuma v'yitzasa betara? It's like the Yidden, they came into the Suda Shaloisa Russia, they were nechnas the betuma. They came in and they wanted to be Neder Misudas Shleisa Rasha. Then they came in there, and they had Charat. They felt bad about what they did. And Yitzasa Betara. They did Tshuva, to some whatever extent it was. And Lamaisa, there was a Gzeira on them that they were Mechuyev Kliya. That's the Lashon HaGemara. Because they were Neder Misudas Shleisa Rasha, right? They were Neder, meaning they didn't just leave. They ate, they sat, they epis, did something there, right? And Lamaisa V'yatzasa Betara. There was a Geula, there was a Yeshua for Klal Yisrael that they had a Yeshua. Klal Yisrael had a Yeshua. It's very interesting, there's a going over there at the end of Kelim. Just because I don't know. Really, I think we should save it for the next shtickle that we're going to use. The next shtickle that we're going to say. But he says that the world is divided into 3 parts. There's Shemayim, the heavens, Eretz, the land, and Yamim, the waters. The Eretz includes all the brias and everything that grows and all the rocks and all the diamond and everything that's shaykh to Eretz has Tumah in it. Now, Yam is Kailul all Taurus, because we know that Kol should be Yam Tahar, it's a Mishnah Kailul. And anything that becomes Tameh, you Matahar it in the Yam. So that works out well. Shemayim are the Tisha Rikiyim that he says. We'll learn about it in Chagiga, right? And altogether, the 9 Rikiyim and the Rikiya of the whole Klolius of Rikiyim and Shemayim altogether, that's 10. So you have 10 Rikiyim, and Eretz and Yam are divided into, he says, At Bash Gar Dak Hatz Vap Zachas Tan Yam Kol. Oh, there we go. Yam Kol is at the end. That's what's important for us now. Tisha Keneged Tisha Rikiyim, Yam Keneged Yam Kol Keneged the Oretz and Nikras Kol. The Kol is Keneged the Oretz, that's called Kol. So at Bash, you have Yam Kol in the middle of the Oisios. Nimtza ba'at Bash Yam Etchila ve'achakach Kol shu Neged ha'Oretz. Aval Kelim, Ashrecha Kelim, shemitchila Kol ve'achakach Yam. In the Atbash, it's Yam and then Kol, because we're going in the order of the Aleph base. Masha ain't came the word Kelim, it's Kol and then Yam, because Kol is Keneged the Yam is Keneged the Yam, and Kol is Keneged the Oretz. Aval Kelim, Ashrecha Kelim, shemitchila Kol ve'achakach Yam. Shebe Kelim yesh tevas Kol Yam, shenechnasta betuma betevas Kol. Shu Keneged ha'Oretz, and then that's the Kol Sheba Oretz Tmeim, and anything that shaykh to Oretz is Tamei. V'yitzasa B'Tara, which is Tevas Yam, Shekol Sheba Yam Tahar Sheba Eretz Nitharim B'Yam. The Tara process happens by going into the Yam. So Kol comes first, that's Oretz, and then you start with B'Tumah, and then Yam is Tara. I think like this going, whatever this is supposed to mean, that's what's up. That's where it's at. Fine. I'm not sure how exactly we're going to stell to this shtickle that we're going to say, but it's going to be very helpful for a different shtickle that we're going to say. Mitzvah Shem. That's the helpful that we should be zeichet to say noch a shtickle. Fine. So it hit me very interesting to zach. There's a ma'isa for Sembes. There's a Yadua Diga ma'isa, but before we get to the ma'isa, it's kedai as we learn a shtickle medrash. On the Purim tapes, there's a ma'isa that Eliyahu Novi, no, it's the Yalkut. The Purim tapes say the Yalkut. It's time to learn the Gemara. You're not going to see it. It's in the Yalkut. If you learn the Yalkut, you know it. There was a tremendous rash. Mordechai goes out and he puts on sak ve'efer and he's v'yetze b'seicheir v'yizag za'okon g'doylu umara hashreklecha geshrei that what's going on. We have this gzeres misa on us. We got to get rid of it. Daf maspal sign. We have to daven and we have to do tshuva. The rice in the Himmel, as they say in Yiddish, you have to tear open the heavens. Daf epestan, you got to do something. State in the Medrash that Eliyahu Navi went up to Shemayim and he's ma'ir the tzaddikim, he's ma'ir the ovis, he's ma'ir Moshe Rabbeinu. So shrekel chigzer and klal Yisrael, we got to do something about it. And back and forth, a whole mice over there. Fine. And in that Yalkut state, that I don't have the Yalkut Mamish in front of me, but it says that Eliyahu Navi came to Mordechai and he told him that there is a slight chance, like a 0.5% chance that we could be mevatel this gzera. So it's when you hear that, even if it's a very small percentage, but that's what you can over there, right? So Eliyahu tells Mordechai that the reason is because in Shemayim there's 2 ways that a gzera can be sealed. It can be stamped. Either it can be nechtam betit, with cement, or whatever line, whatever that's supposed to mean, or it's nechtam bedam. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to listen to the tefillas of Klal Yisrael, and it's going to save them from the Rasha. But the rule is that if it was nechtam bedam, for signed in blood, then it doesn't. It can't be mevat. It's not shaykh to be mevatel the gzera. But if it's nechtam betit, then it's shaykh to. Sometimes it could happen that HaKadosh Baruch Hu would mitoich rachamim merubim, rachamim gedolim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu could be mevatel the gzera. Fine. That's stated in Yalkut. What's the ma'isa? The ma'isa was that Reb Chaim Volozhin is sitting by his Purim Suda for bringing with his Olam, whatever it is, And however they say the story, there's many different nuschos, but obviously we'll say the best one. Not meaning the most accurate, the most geschmack one, right? And he's giving out money, because called a parshik denoisim, everybody who comes, he gets a coin, whatever it is. Kitzin walks a fellow with a long white beard, looks very chashuv, and I'm excited to see what he, it looks like something interesting might happen. What's going to happen? And the Reb Chaim gave him a coin. And this guy says, I want another one. So, the Maisa called Perch That's the halacha. That's the point in the halacha, that if somebody asks you for another one, you give him another one. Because normally you would say, no, but Purim, you give him another one. Okay. So he told Reb Chaim, if you give me another coin, I'll tell you a murder geshtikkel terror. Reb Chaim said, of course, what's the question? So he waits for him, and it didn't disappoint. This person wrote over the story, says the shtickle terror didn't disappoint, and he told him the shtickle terror, and he gave him the extra coin. What was the shtickle terror? He told him over this yalkut, and he says, "Vu states in the Megillah this. How do you know this? How do you know that the Gzeira? How do you know this Maisa with this Gzeira of Haman, that it was in Shemaim, it was nechtam betit, and it wasn't nechtam bedat? How do you know?" So the fellow told him like this. It's a good kasha. Whatever. Bichlal, it's very interesting. When you learn Medrash, right, Medrash could tell you a whole story. Shkem Baba Maisa. They got it from somewhere. If you learn the Mefarshei Medrash generally try to show you which one of the Mahalchim Shatarna Dreshes Behem and how they were able to come to this conclusion. Which is very interesting because Lamaisa, which means that when you learn a Medrash, that is good learning. And he has to have he's not just telling you a joke, he's not just telling you a silly story. It comes from somewhere. It came through learning up the psukim that this al karchach must be the pshat in the pasuk if you use these and these tools to understand it. Or pshat is that they had it the Kabbalah. But Pashtus is that they were soymichet on a pasuk through the Yud Gimel Midrash Shatarna Dreshes Behem the Lamed Beis Nasivis, which is printed in the back of the Gemara Brachas, which also is a mahalach. So he tells him like this. He says, we know from Chazal that any time it says Hamelech in the Megillah means Melech Malach Hamloch HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And in Perek Gimel in the Megillah it says Imala Melech Toiv Yikosev Laabdam. If it's good for the king, you should write to destroy them. The king's referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So why would HaKadosh Baruch Hu want to destroy the Klal Yisrael? Something doesn't stim. So he says, what's the word Laabdam? Laabdam is Lamed Aleph Beis Daled Mem. Loi Bedam. Not with blood. So the Gzeira wasn't nechtam bedam. This is what this fellow told the Chaim Velazha. And Imal Hamelach HaKadosh Baruch Hu Toiv Yikosev, he would write the Gzar Din Loi bedam, not with dam, but only with tit. So Sheina Vart, the Chaim Velazha liked it. He said. So next time he went to Vilna, he told this over to his Rebbe, the Hilge Gro, and he told him. This is how the story goes, but the Goyin told him, the Goyin was mamish and spoiled from the Vart, and the Goyin said that this Vart can only come from the person who originated this original Vart from, that this Vart is from Eliyahu Navi Alei. You were saying it's Gila Eliyahu, and Eliyahu Navi tells Vart. Grada, one of the places where I saw this Maisa brought, they bring that the Goyin said the Vart. But either way, but Reb Shalom Shadran said this over b'shem Reb Shmuel Shenker, who heard it from his father, who heard it from Reb David Tevel, from Minsk, who was a Talmud of Reb Chaim Velazha. Okay, if you want to know the Hishtalshalos, that's the Hishtalshalos. I'll be this thing. Fine, very good. Sounds good. So far, so good. What's this got to do with Kelim Shen? What's it got to do with us? The word is Azoi. In Bichlal, what's the avodah? What's the idea of Purim? Bichlal, yes. We know there's a halacha, there's a gemara. It's a question if it's a halacha, but Akopanim said a gemara that says that it's also leodam shemalis chayk piv by lemazeh. It's also for a person to be mamalis chayk piv. So how do we laugh? I don't know. Maybe we're broken. I don't know. But what shaykh is elam hazeh? Deli Rabbah brings a halacha. It's a shaila. There's a ritva in Megillah and Daf Chav Ches that says that many times where the Gemara says Asr, it doesn't mean Isser Medina, I mean just Lefinim Mishur Sadin, I mean this Chasidus type of thing. So they talk a to this Indian. And Lamaisa, if the understanding of Purim is that it's coming from an outgrowth of the Gula Asida of, for Yemaisa Mashiach and past that, is Melo, then it's not Shaykh to Ilm Hazeh. If the Yontif of Purim is not Shaykh to Ilm Hazeh, then it's Mutter, because it's not Ilm Hazeh. B'chal, just a mud and lashon of the Gemara. It doesn't say that put on tefillin in Ilm Hazeh, right? But I have a Geshmak HaHar, Stam HaHar, nothing to do. The Gemara's beginning of Avodah Zarah and of Beis says that Rishu ben Levi says that if a person does mitzvahs in Ilm Hazeh, so then, he gets schar, this, that. Where else do you do mitzvahs? I mean, we live in Ilm Hazeh, it's Ilm HaMaisa, where else do you do mitzvahs? So, which Eiches, right? So there's a Vart, there's a Gemara. The Gemara says in Ksubas, Ayin Zayin Amid Beis, Rishu ben Levi played a trick on the Malach HaMavas. He took the Malach HaMavas' sword and he jumped into Gan Eden alive. Oh, now he's alive in Gan Eden, there's a mitzvahs in it. There's Stam HaShayla. Ayin Steichemet, there's a page-long Marach on it. Rebbe came to make Kiddush, the Bnei Beisai, right? Even after his P'tira, how could he be mighty then? He's not Mechuyev mitzvahs. Oh, but they bring a Ra'if HaKer to stay in Chazal, that of the L'shomer, mitzvahs, mitzvahs, it's by Adam Rishon, okay, whatever. Fine. Shtei the Gemara Sanhedrin, the Gemara says, the Gemara's actually like a Pasuk in Navi, the Pasuk says, Yom Nakam Belibi, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a day where he's going to take an Akama. And that's the day when all the Ra in the world and all the things that bothered the Yidden and all the things that destroyed, that tried to take down the Yidden, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take on a tremendous Nakama and totally obliterate them. And the Chazal say, Liba lepuma loy galya. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wasn't the heart of HaKadosh Baruch Hu wasn't megalit to the mouth, meaning that it never went. It's kept in the thoughts of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachal, and it never got into the. HaKadosh Baruch Hu never spoke out the details of exactly how this and how this Yom Nakom Belibi thing is going to play out. I mean, we know different things from Psukim and Chazal, but this idea of Yom Nakom Belibi, it's not clear. We don't know about it. Steht in Pachad Yitzchak in it's not Mamorim, it's in Yonim, in Dalet, steht da so. That day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take Nekama, is going to take revenge for the people that bothered Klal Yisrael. That day is being held tightly in the heart of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachal. And it's being held in the Talum, in the Mamaka Taluma, which is in the secretive depths and private heart of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And there's absolutely no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't leak any secrets, trust me. There's no NSA guys going in there figuring it out. This is Gaten to say, right? But calls Zehu B'Shari Ma'aseh Shana. That's every day of the year. There was a gevisa avodah, there was a specific avodah that the Yidden had to be, that the Yidden were, that they took Nekama. Right? Nekama is something that, revenge is very sweet, right? But we know that it's something that's miyuchad for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kel Nekama is Hashem. The Gemara says that the Nekama is between the two shemis of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? When a person takes Nekama, if it's not going to be called 110% L'Shem Shemayim, maybe he has some zich in there. It's not kosher. Did you like to talk about that? He says it's a lot. Fine. That's every day of the year. That nekama that the Yidden took on the Goyim in Shushan and in all the other places, like it says in the Megillah, it's not just the Yidden were taking the nekama of the Goyim and I got you back, ha. No, it was HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Meaning the fact that the Yidden were taking the nekama means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was involved in taking the nekama of the Goyim over here as well. On this day, the mechitza between the heart and the mouth of HaKadosh Baruch Hu collapses. The heart of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very close to his mouth in Yom HaPurim. And this is one of the things that we're talking, one of the things that we taste, that we could tap into in the shikrus of Purim. Why? Because the matzav of shikrus is when a person drinks and a person comes to the matzav of shikrus, there's a seal kam mechitzas ben apeva halev. There's no more mechitzas, mechitzas fall down, which is really the whole idea of Purim. That's why there's prozim and they have different the walls have different days of yom and tovim. Mechitzas make a big difference in Purim. You don't think about it like that, but that's true. So that's liba lepum megalia. Normal we say liba l'pul maloi galia. When it comes to Purim, pshat is that this mechitza, this liba l'pul maloi galia, when it comes to Purim, liba l'pul magalia kaviyach. There is a concept that the heart of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, pours over into the mouth kaviyachol, and fine. Weiter, what's this got to do? So we have laabדם, right? So really, it's very interesting. In 10th grade, he gesagt das so. You ever wonder why the heart is on the left side of a person? Everything chash is on the right side. The heart should be on the right side. Ad kedei kach, I believe the Kajal Gleva has a tshuva in Sirich HaSoda. It talks about that the tefillin has to be connected alev. What if a person's heart's on the other side? So he's got a problem. Okay, I told Rabbi Yonason, he was laughing, he wasn't sure if it was real or not. I told him, listen, it's there. I didn't make it up. But Rabbi Nachman says very interesting thing. Here just from my Rebbeim. I don't think I saw it in Sadul Kudmaran. But Rabbi Nachman says very interesting thing. He said, what's the vart? The vart is, when I'm standing opposite you, your heart's on my right side. That's a whole different ball game. It's not pshat that my heart's on the left side because my heart, l'gabe you, is ishken choshev zach. Your heart by me, that's the most choshev zach. And that is l'chor al pi ha'omar, al pi what we're saying, that is the whole mitzvah of Purim. This is ready for the bomb of art. Laabדם, laabdam is the same oisio as laabdam. Laabdam is the taich, the whole mitzvah, the whole reason why the Yeshua of Purim was able to be pile was leich kanais as kol Yehudim, that all the Yidden daven together. There was a togetherness of klal. So what's the mitzvah hayom? The mitzvah hayom is ish l'riyayim atanas l'vyanim. V'shleich manis ish l'riyayim. It's all about ish l'riyayim. Now, once we have that, now it's shaykh hoda kablu b'me'achashvesh. Now it's shaykh. Now that's shaykh. Okay. Before we do that, so in the back of the Pachad Yitzchak, they have Rishimas, which is other Maimarim that were written in Yiddish. It's written in Yiddish. There's very interesting things over there. Very, very interesting Sachen over there. And I'm not going to read it in Yiddish, but basically he also talks along the lines of what are we accomplishing by Shikras of Purim, right? The Shikr, we get Shikr and that's where it stops there? Of course not. The Shikr is supposed to get you somewhere. Where's the Shikr supposed to get you? To the Purim and back? No, I can't verify that for you. You're on your own with that. But the concept is like this. The mechitzas that are mavdil between people, like Gans Yor, and Purim has to come down. Purim is mavatal those mechitzas. And he explains it with a very interesting tezach, with a mashal. He says like this. He says, you have two chaverim that learned bechavrusa, and they spent much time together, and they're very close, belev and nefesh. Each one goes in his own way, and does what he does in the world. Zebekai v'zebekai. Says, it happened once that, Reuven was going from point A to point C, and he stopped off in point B. And Shimon, who lives in city C, he's going to city A, but he stops off in point B. And Reuven and Shimon come to this krachma, that's how he calls it, comes to this inn, this tavern, with the local mashkas and people there, and they meet each other. They haven't seen each other in 20, 30 years, and they're mamish, happy to see each other, mamish, so excited to see each other. He says they start talking, and they start schmoozing, and hours go by, and their drink has geschmack. He's never going to go to his place. He's never going to. That's it. They're here. They're staying here. They're parked. They're not going anywhere. What happens is, a few hours later, the Balagala comes in and says, listen, Reuben, we got to go. So Shimon's like, this party's not ending anytime soon. What do? You give the Balagala a piece to drink it. You give the Balagala something to drink. Get out of here. Stop bothering me. Go to sleep. And a few hours later, comes back. And he says, no, we got to go. And he says, this party's not ending anytime soon. You're paying, we got to go. So I give you as much money as you want. Leave me alone. He says, is given the Mamad Har Sinai, all the Neshamas with there. This is Lashon. Azay haben Yiddish Neshamas zusammen gelernt beim Mesifte der Rekia. He says, the same way we had these neshamas that were learning together in Shemayim. Every neshama, and they were all together. Right? All the neshamas are one metzias, or one guf. The Gemara says, "Ein ben David bat shichul kol neshamas shabaguf." Rashi says, "What's guf? Guf is that space in Shemayim which has all these neshamas." I think we spoke about this Gemara once. So Zok the Rishiva that the pshat is like this. These neshamas have to come into this world. They come to this world. This one goes into the guf of Ruvain. This one goes into the guf of Shimon. And this one does what he does. This one does what he does. And they spend time together. And then they don't spend time together. And they get back there. What's going on? It's like, are we one? We're not one. We're like pieces. We're floating around. We don't have that. We could talk about Achdus from Haint Bismogim from today till tomorrow. But do we really have it or do we not have it? Like, it's a basic question. But Amal, it happens that like, there's such a chavashaf, there's such a non-kite, there's such a closeness between two people, they want to just stay together forever, they're not interested in going back to where they want to go. He says that's what happens when you sit together with people by the Purim Suda, by the Suda's Purim. And he says, you mamish want to open your heart to Yen Yid, you mamish want to do it, but then you have like these Chalush Sadas, you're not sure. You're handling mechitzas. It's not a Purim Zaginian. He says you have to already get away from your business. You got to go back home. You can't sit here all day. So what's the eitzah? How do you make the farbrengen last longer? You drink a little more, or you give the player, as he calls him, you give the wagon driver epis to drink, and you give him to drink, and he doesn't bother you anymore. He should go to sleep, and we'll stick together. So he said the Rebbeinu Shalom gave a koyach in food that it should give a person physical strength, nutrients. And he says in the teva of, and then it also helps your seichel. You can think better when you eat. He says, but yayin, the Rebbeinu Shalom, the Rebbeinu Shalom created the teva of yayin that makes the dimyan very strong. The dimyan is your imagination, which you can, all kinds of things. He says, when you learn together, the seichel of the two people connect. When people daven together, so then the levavas connect. When you eat together, so you're doing a gufnis gezach together. So when you drink together, what do? What happens when you drink together? He says the dimyan, the fantasies, the imagination, that it's not real. What's going on in your mayach? What's going on in your adalayada situation? It's adalayada. It's not. Your shtickle terror that was so good when you were out of the now you try to say it doesn't. You try to put it on paper. It's like beyond backwards, right? So Dimyan is the pshat that Dimyan is the pshat that it's hepech seichel. Seichel is the pshat that we sense something. There's something here. There's something real. But when it comes to in seichel, we could connect. What's going on in my dimyan and what's going on in your dimyan, it ain't never going to connect. That's me. That's me, is specific for me. But if the pshat is that we could, that I could get to dimyan, and the pshat is that you could get to dimyan, and the two dimyan, not that we're going to be medama the same thing in the dimyanis, but that it's shaykh that we could connect in the Simchas Purim. So he says then it's mamish, versus mamish ain't, it becomes mamish one. And he says that's the highest madrega drinking. I mean, that's the tachlis of drinking. The tachlis of drinking isn't to drink and get drunk. The tachlis of drinking is, and maybe we could say, I don't know if this is what it means, but that whatever mechitzas are being mavdil between you and the other people, by drinking, it's knocking down those mechitzas, and it's removing all those kpedis and all those other things. And the Rishiva, the Baron, and Tafshin and Beis, this is just a little quote, a few lines that he said by the Mesiba. Very interesting to Zach. The Mele now makes sense with the whole idea of Mishnah Yayin is, because it's to get you, it's to be Marba Reus, to be Marba Ava. It's not just to be Marba Ava, but it's to be Marba Ava without anything that's stopping you. All the Ava that you couldn't do a whole year, right? Now you have the time to do it. Right? It's like we spoke with Divrei Agoda, it's something that it's not shaykh to put down b'ksav, because it's Divrei Agoda is not something that's shaykh to put down b'ksav, because it's your experience. So that's what the dimyan is. The dimyan is, it's your experience. Menacha, just one more nakuda. The Rishiva says we want to say a taich. On Purim, we went from Misa L'chaim, meaning that we have to understand things in the Tzir before Misa existed. On Purim, when a Yid looks at his chaver, now this is saying a taich, and what you're seeing in that matzav of Shikrus of Purim, he sees someone who's higher than the world of Misa, because he's in a matzav of we went from Avos L'chaim. So Chayim means we go back to the original Chiyas, meaning before the Chet of Adam Rishon. He sees someone who's higher than the world of Misa, and if so, is not shaykh to the klal of Bezer Sapechet Techalachem. Bezer Sapechet Techalachem was a klal, was a tetzah of the Chet of Adam Rishon. So I send him a ready-made suda. Imagine you come to a chasana and everybody's putting, they're putting vinegar in the salad, or they're putting the cream on top of the cake. When you come to a wedding, everything's misudar. Everything's worked out for you already. On Purim, you give something ready. You give him a ready-made suda. This that a person has to work to prepare his own food is part of Gzeras Misa. That's the klal of Gzeras Apechet Halacha. And when one yid looks at another, he sees something higher than that. I see a picture of life in its true meaning, not Gzeras Apechet Halacha. This is not what you were created for. You were created. I'm just going to read the quote. This is a quote from the Rishiva. You were created to be in a matzav v'atem adveikim b'Hashem alekeichem chaim kulchem ayot, to be davak b'Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Me being davak in Hakadosh Baruch Hu, you being davak in Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Davak in Hakadosh Baruch Hu means l'mayla menachet. There's no makam fechet by being davak in Hakadosh Baruch Hu. It's a quote from the Ishler Yehu. To sitzen zusammen, to sit together with the tzir from Chaim, with the tzir of what Chaim is supposed to be. Yidden from Chaim l'Chaim. That's how he ends the thing. But yeah, just a quick recap at Indian that that we have the kelim shonim. The kelim shonim is the pshat. Meaning, so what do we do with this whole thing? Pshat is that we're creating a keli. Or did they say? I don't know who this is a quote from, but they say that the most wholesome thing in the world is a broken heart. Right? So that's the spitz keli. That's the spitz keli. There's a Vartul in Kotzka says, Alav Avecha. Why not Bilv Avecha? Why Alav Avecha? A person's not ready. And then when his heart opens up, then it falls in. That's his Alav Avecha. Rather, the Shem Yishmol tells that to Purim. And he said that's good for what the Nes of Purim, whatever, what the Yeshua of Purim was, that it went into the hearts of the Bnei Yisrael. But that's the pshat. Oh, so I want to be mashlam, just the end of one thing. The Gemara says in the Gemara in Sanhedrin, that Flam and Ches brings 3 reasons why Adam Rishon was created on Erev Shabbos. One of the reasons was Kadesh Yekarnis L'Suda Miyad. Yekarnis L'Mitzvah Miyad. L'Sudas Mitzvah Miyad depends on different places. In Avos Nasan says different lashon. The pshat is confused what we're saying. It comes out very good. It's very geshmak to Gemara. Why? Because the whole concept of Adam is that he doesn't have to. The whole Metzias of Brias Adam is obviously before the Chet is the pshat that he didn't have to do anything. The Gemara also in Sanhedrin says that the Malachim were roasting him meat and they were pouring him wine, right? You weren't allowed to shech till after the Mabel, right? But these Malachim were bringing meat from the Malach steakhouse, so they were allowed to eat it, right? And he was trying to say yayin, right? And could be that the Eitz Hadas was a geffen, could be if we don't, but we don't know, right? But that's the pshat in Kadesh Yekarnis L'Suda Miyad. That's why I think it's very geschmack for this year, because it's Friday, so it works out that you take Purim and you go into Shabbos. That's mamish a heicha madrega. Now, there's another nakud over here, really, also, that the Gemara says that we know that the Megillah was written by Ruach HaKodesh. The Gemara brings many, many different psukim to try to be mechiach this. The Gemara Dav Zayin. And the Gemara says, because the pasuk says, "Vayomer Haman b'libay," Haman said in his heart. How do you know what Haman said in his heart, right? Elamai must be that is Ruach HaKodesh. So granted, there's a Taisus and Bab Metzia on like Membez and Membez or so that says And many times, even though when it says like Beliba, it's not an Amira like Lashem Amira, but it could be like he spoke it out. Whatever, it could be he said it. I don't want to say spoke it out. He said it out. But the whatever, I want to save this more for the next shtickle, which will start to that the going. But the Shem Yishmuel brings a picture of Beleza that he says Darkum shal Rishon lachshav es hasoid belibam ve'einu megalim b'fiyam vayomer Esav belibay vayomer Haman belibay. Right. The concept of Rishon is that they try to be malbish and cover over. They try to hide all their evil intentions. And the Medrash says that Amalek was always telling the Yidden, "Come, let's do business together. We're brothers." Right? And Lamaisa, we stay away from these guys. Right? It's the meaning of meaning that the Rishonim think, and this is how we'll leave it. This is how we'll leave it off. And to be continued tomorrow, Mitzvah. But the Rishonim are medama themselves. They convince themselves ki'ilu that I'm being like a real tunua. Like I'm not talking about my evil plans. Even if you're not megala them, your plans are still evil. That's what the pasuk is. Why does the pasuk have to tell us Vayomer Haman Beliba? Because the pasuk wants to let you know that he's a Rasha, and don't think that because he's so tunua and he's so like private. Like I don't share my tunua. It's what it looks like on the outside, but on the inside is also visiting that he's rotten to the core, right? And that's really we'll leave it for that to talk about the meaning of like the Rosh Kodesh spoke on Shabbos, the meaning of Pnimius and Chitzonius and Shtika versus Dibur, which is the next shtickle, which hopefully we'll get to tomorrow. But that's the concept of the Kelim. Kelim Shonim is the Kayach HaTshuva, of the Yidden that they did, which allowed Klal Yisrael to Yikasev Laabdam, which is Loibedam, Leivadam. Shtag be zeichet to be mevadel the gzeres, and we should be zeichet to leiv basar, and we should be zeichet to be mekayim the mitzvahs of Purim v'yestav to zayin, and we should all of Klal Yisrael should have Yeshua's gedolos meher b'meinu amen.